That is the voice that these people must listen to. Because in everything you're going to do, there's a wrong way and a right way. And if you listen good, you will know the right way. True. You know? Because there is a voice inside talking to everyone. See it? True. See it.
Welcome back to Turn and Burn. So one of our larger goals on this podcast is to showcase the tapestry of personalities and stories and voices working hard, a lot of the times behind the scenes in the restaurant industry. This interview, I think, is going to take us on a journey that I'm very excited to go on. And I know that Fred is excited to go on. To date, I don't think that any guest that we've had embodies the spirit and purpose of like the heart that you can bring to this industry the way that Tajahi from Denver has. And he joins us today with his wife, Danielle. We're very excited to have you guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Danielle Cooke, a.k.a. The Handler.
I thank y'all again, too, for being on the show. Chef Tajahi, I do want to start out with your interesting background and kind of tell us about your food journey as it relates to the music. How did those two kind of cross paths as far as your journey in this industry?
The truth is, I always knew it was going to cross paths one day. You know, you ever? There's an artist named Supercat, a reggae artist, dancehall artist from way back in the day. He did a couple songs with Heavy D, Biggie Smalls. He was signed on to Mos Def, Interscope Records. He was one of the first true dancehall reggae artists out of Jamaica behind Shabba Ranks and a lot of these artists. He's my cousin, for example. He's a Mirage. He's on my grandmother's side. So coming from the music side, my father being a tour manager, my stepfather, his name is Warren Yuboa, basically. He's from the Yoruba tribe. We're down, we have family in Ghana all across. His son, his name is Jazwad. He is also the key producer for an artist named Bounty Killer coming out of Jamaica. And also for many artists like Peter Tosh and Garnet Silk. There's an artist named Dennis Brown, who's the Prince of Reggae, that my stepfather was the manager for example. So my life in music has just been all over. I was even the road manager for a band named Morgan Heritage. Some of the most beautiful reggae music that you can just rock, to be honest with you, and just get lost into. I road managed them for a couple months and a couple shows, and it was an honor. Honestly, they're the Prince of Reggae. When I was contacted by my stepbrother, who was a tour manager at the time for a band named Revolution. All right. Now, Revolution is a Grammy-nominated band. They're in the band's realm such as Soulja and 311 and, you know, all of these old school reggae bands. Revolution was one of them, and I've always respected them. So they reached out. They wanted a chef. I was young. She was willing to allow me to go. And I did it 2 years. It was pretty cool. Like it just being a young cook, to trust yourself. You don't have a dishwasher. You don't have a food runner. You don't have a busser. You don't have nobody. It is just you. You know what I mean? So I had a 10 by 10 tent. I had a couple fold out tables. I had some butane burners. I had some grills. I had some Cambros and some coolers, and I did my thing. It was fun. But it was a learning experience, to be honest with you. It was a huge learning experience and undertaking on both of us, because she had to deal with me gone. I had to deal with her not being there with me. So every show that we had, whenever we came through town at Red Rocks up here, that I've catered multiple times, one of the best concert venues in the world, she and I are running back and forth because she won't leave me an inch, because we have not seen each other for 4.5 weeks. You know what I mean? So it was an amazing experience, and that's where I learned how to cook for the masses, because I was cooking for not just the band, keeping them healthy so they can perform every day, and using all the tricks in my books, talking from the Rastafarian culture, knowing that when you put together cinnamon sticks and allspice and clove, and you know, you might even drop in a little indica bud into it. You got to know the right
Mhm.
strain.
Mhm.
To be honest with you, it makes some amazing, good medicinal tea that is good for
Mhm.
the throat.
Mhm.
Growing up with asthma in Jamaica, my grandmother used to take marijuana seeds and boil it to make tea, and it helped me with the wheezing. So now, my asthma, I only get affected when I catch a cold or the flu. That's when I'll start to
Yeah.
wheeze. Other than that, I don't use my inhaler at all, at all.
Mhm.
So it's knowing a lot of these tricks, and I used it for a lot of it. Eric Rukmani, the lead singer for Reb, him and I are good friends. I kept him healthy. A lot of the backup bands, they came in sick the morning of, and by the time they needed to go on stage, their voice was good and they felt amazing. So
Mhm.
it was a fun experience. It really was.
I tell you what, two things. One, you got to get me a jerk chicken recipe.
Oh.
I've been trying to duplicate that since I went to Jamaica Negril a few years ago. That's number
Yeah,
one. Number
okay,
two,
I got you.
Danielle, hats off to you because in this industry, and I tell people this a lot, you have to have your significant other has to be very understanding.
Oh, yeah.
The amount
Oh
of
yeah.
work and hours that we put in
Mhm.
is unparalleled. And kudos to you, ma'am, for allowing him on that journey and just being an understanding
Oh
wife
yeah.
in this industry. It takes a lot, and strong woman behind makes it
Oh,
much
bro.
easier.
I mean, my biggest thing is just always supporting him because that's how he started, was wanting to find something that really brought him happiness. And cooking has always done that for him. So I think my favorite part was just being a part of it. Like, I remember when he was getting ready to go on tour, we were scouring every single city that they were stopping in to find the right coconut water, the
Yeah,
right ingredients for each of the dishes that he was preparing. And so I
yeah.
was kind of like his back of house, kind
You
of
were
in
his
that sense,
Sue.
helping him,
But
basically.
Yeah.
you had to, because the way we set up was the tour bus will get into the venue. Each city, South
Hmm.
Carolina, Florida, wherever the hell, Oregon, New York, we get in by 8 a.m. in the morning for sound check. And I am one of the first persons off the bus because I'm collecting my ingredients for the day because I cooked fresh for
Hmm.
them. We'll make a juice in the afternoon. They'll eat a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a late night snack, and they need to have breakfast by time before they go do sound check. And right after sound check, they need to have a fresh juice, and after their fresh juice, they'll have lunch. So Danielle was making sure we had the right supermarket that was within a 5 mile radius of the
For the
concert
runner.
venue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was undertaken. She was a beast, honestly. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so talk a little bit, if you would, about your heritage, right? Like, because you
Hmm.
are, as a person, you're sort of a mosaic
Oh,
or a tapestry, right? I talked about tapestry at the
oh yeah.
beginning, but you are exactly that. So, and explain a little bit about how you bring that into your philosophy as a chef.
Hmm.
Um, in Jamaica, there's a saying, out of many, we're one. That is
Hmm.
literally on every money that is printed, every government stamp.
Hmm.
And it's a serious thing that we take seriously. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Out of many, we are one. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what
Hmm.
skin tone, what hair texture, what language you may speak. You're welcome. It's a beautiful place. Jamaica is a sanctuary country for a lot
Hmm.
of individuals in this world, just so you know. So, Jamaica, the origin of Jamaica started with the Tayanos. The Tayanos who traveled from Venezuela and basically camouflaged this whole world from South America to North America to anywhere in the Caribbean. The Tayanos' blood is rich. And
Hmm.
in these different countries, they're called different names. So the Tayanos that is known in North America and South America as that name, in the Caribbean, we know them as the Arawak Indians. And Arawak Indians are basically the same people. Now, when the Tayanos were basically killed off, as they all said, by the Spaniards when they came in with slavery and brought in African slaves, and the African slaves revolted against slavery, the African slaves and the Tayanos fled into the Blue Mountain Hills of Jamaica. That's where they started inbreeding, started coming together as one, as a village. And you didn't just have that, you had individuals such as the Asian population that fled into the mountains as well. You had Spaniards who didn't want to be a part of slavery who fled into the mountains. So you basically ended up having a village of just beautiful natives
Hmm.
all across this world. Um, that is my mother's side. for example. My father's side, exactly, the Maroons. He is a combination. My grandfather is his mother is Scottish. So you have a blonde hair, blue eyed Scottish woman in our family. And you also have an African man from Ghana who came together and made my grandfather. And that background also has Indian touches throughout it. Then you also have my father's mother, who's 100% Indian from Bangladesh, India. That's seceded from India. And from Bangladesh, they traveled to Kerala. Kerala is in the southern tip of India. And by boat, they traveled to Jamaica. Now, my grandmother's father is a Hindu priest with dreads that used to walk around preaching the name of man and God. You understand? And I'm just that combination. So you got Scottish, Indian, Ghanaian, and then the combination of just Jamaica. I've had the ability to travel as a young kid. Belize, Europe, South America, all across the Caribbean, all across America. And it's been a beautiful experience, honestly speaking, to have numerous conversations with different individuals from different parts of this world with different skin tones and hair textures that eat a different food. And as a chef, I didn't realize how analytic I was as a kid, where I would just analyze everything that we were doing and realize the I guess you would say how the spider web connects us all. Do you know what I mean? And that was my favorite part of finding that connection between my culture and theirs. And it just became a thing for me. So my wife, even looking at you, Sarah, Fred, we see the background within us. There's a huge connection of spiderweb across for all of us. The difference is a lot of us are blinded, by whether the language or the skin tone or just the mailing address of that individual, so that's the truth of the matter. But yeah, Jamaica, out of many, we are one. It's genuinely that, man. Genuinely that.
I
That's
love it. I
beautiful.
love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love it. I think you and Sarah should take a ancestry.com test and see. Y'all might have some
Williams
bloodline
side.
somewhere.
Right.
That's it. The
About
Williams.
that. It's
That's it.
crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Williamses everywhere, and most of us, we can be as from one side of the spectrum to the other, if you will, right? That Tajahi said, I've got Williams, blood, and that was just such a crazy bonding moment. And I, again, part of the journey of this interview. That thank you, Fred, for bringing that up. I wanted to see if we would get there eventually. It's just so fun. Who knows? We could be distantly related, which is cool.
You know what? It's one of my favorite part about this world, man. I'm even gonna give you a joke. So my father being a tour manager, and he may not like this joke.
No, he won't.
But me and my friend are there's been times where we've come across individuals that just literally mirrors you in public, in certain neighborhoods, and you find out that your old man used to be friends with their mom way back in the day, or they used to run in the same neighborhood. And I tell my dad, Papa was a Rolling Stone. That song. It's literally they wrote it. They met my dad and then wrote that song. It's sorry, I had to tell it, but it's true.
No, it's okay. You asked my family, and they said my grandfather took it first. So go ahead.
I'm a huge Temptation fan, so I love it. I love it.
Yes.
3rd of September, right?
Oh, bro, no, it's true. I love this world. And if we keep running from how much we're all connected, we're gonna continue being disconnected. And that's kind of the route that I think society is going down right now. We're disconnected from each other, disconnected from society itself, disconnected from Mother Nature and what's going on, just disconnected. And I think we need to continue finding the realms of that connection and building on
that.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
It's true.
And food kind of helps kind of bridge that gap, right?
Oh, it does.
I mean, you think about, and I just made. I mean, obviously, I'm serious about the jerk chicken recipe, but I spent some time in Jamaica, my wife and and I love the culture there. And you're 100% right. I can't wait to go back, actually. But let's step into diversity here for a second, Taj. And I want to read something that I heard you say on the pre-interview, man, that struck me, and I had to write that down because I love it. You know, being in the industry myself, your
Yeah.
quote, you said, "Everyone in this industry, even if you don't know them, they're family." I love it, man. I do, and you know, we spend so much time, and I just talked about it, right? We 17, 18 hours a day. You're with these, you know, people that amount of time. They do become a second family, so to speak. But
Oh
can you
yeah.
touch a little bit on, you know, the diversity and kind of what you guys are doing up in Denver? Because
So Marinara is our oldest that we work with,
Mm.
and we've met a couple of them all around the same time when Taj was working as a chef at Freedom Street, and so that was it was a food hall, and their concept was breakfast,
Yeah.
as well as our bringing in integrating our supper club, so special dinners, and bringing in chefs as well.
Yeah.
And so we're just coming in, and they're enthralled by him. But what was really stood out was when he really challenged them. He said, "Make me a dish. I want you to make a dish that you feel represents you, that what you would be proud of, and bring it in. And I want to taste it."
I wanted them
And
to, just to elaborate a little bit, my love.
hmm
I wanted them to, before I hired them and started paying them for work and even educating them, putting me into them, I wanted to see them as a person, as a chef or as a cook. I just wanted
hmm
to see where they were in knowledge, you know what I mean?
hmm
And comfort as well. So I
hmm
told them to make a dish that represented them, that they like. I'm not allergic to anything, so feel free to throw anything my way. I even told them,
right.
if you want to bring me a Twinkie deep fried, you can, if that's what you prefer to eat. There's
hmm
places, carnival food, they're
yeah.
very successful. So I really wanted to see them.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, I don't think I tasted her dish, so you'd have to really describe it. But
Um,
I know that, yeah, because you were there. But that's how she received her name. So it's yeah, it's only right.
so her dish, she made marinara sauce from scratch. Her name is Miranda, just
hmm
so it's clear. Chef
Chef Miranda
Miranda
nicely.
nicely. Okay. But she made marinara from scratch, and she made
hmm
pasta from scratch, pappardelle pasta from scratch. And I would have added a little bit more garlic and red pepper flakes, and I shared this with her. But
And that was
overall,
the start of their relationship.
and she was 17 years old, uh,
hmm
young. Uh, she's a mixture as well. Her dad
hmm
is black, her mom is white, and she's a beautiful resemblance of the world.
hmm
I love her soul, and she helped us last year to push out. Well, helped us to push out 13,036 meals on Thanksgiving Day, and
Yes.
out of the location that she ran with some of our other students, they it was we had Miranda, we had Devin, we had Dayanara over there running the location, and Devin, when we first hired him, he was 16 years old, uh,
hmm
just turned 18. Miranda just turned 19 this year. She turns 20. All right.
Right.
Dayanara, she was only 15. She just turned
Right.
16. Okay. And
hmm
all three of them combined pushed out over 5,000 meals to the community of Colorado. You understand?
Yes. Organizing about
Hey,
200 volunteers from their location.
literally.
Wow.
And
Yes.
Danielle and I were at another location because we took over Zeppelin Station. Zeppelin Station
hmm
has now given us their location now for 3 years in a row, and they've already committed
Yes.
now for this year and the years after. And they were like, Taj, if you need me, we're there. You know,
hmm
that's why I've always had a deep affection for Zeppelin Station. But we also took
hmm
over the old Johnson and Wales Culinary Institute, and that's where we were operating, and that's where we were going to push out a majority and the vast amount of the food. So we
hmm
placed them at the other location to push out the smaller amounts, and they knocked it out the park.
Crushed it.
They
Yeah,
knocked
so
it out.
hmm
talk a little bit about this program that you guys are running. Talk about why you're
Oh,
producing thousands of meals, and you know, enlighten people as to how you guys are
oh,
saving the world out there.
It's pretty
save
cool.
the world.
Yeah.
I
hmm
just, Jose Andres is in Gaza right now.
Mhm.
We're
hmm
we're part of World Central Kitchen. We got inducted as members
Nice.
this past year, along with Kelly Whitaker and a lot of other chefs, amazing
Mhm.
chefs out here. Um,
hmm
but he's doing his part. You know what I mean? So we're doing ours. And that's
Right.
how I view it. It's that as much as we're in a one bedroom apartment right now and I have to take this call in the bedroom and she is in the office / living room. You know, it's I believe that no matter what you have, it could be a cinder block, it could be a pebble. Use that podium to speak out loud. You get what I mean? And it could be Abraham Lincoln's Memorial in Washington. Um, use your voice. So we're just using our voice, and over the last 5 years, we've fed over 60,000 individuals across Colorado.
Yeah.
You know, last year was our largest push that we've ever done. We're part of the Salvation Army Disaster Relief Team. We are part of the CCIC, the Cherry Creek Innovative Campus, working with all these students, and Colorado
Yeah.
Rescue Association as well. I have my first meeting coming up this week with them, recent member, so that's amazing. Board member, which is weird. It's that's how you can tell you're getting old in this business. That's how when you start ending up on the boards and the committees and the shit. Forgive me, but
that's how you can
it's
tell you're successful in this business as
Yeah.
well, right? That you've
Yeah.
actually made a name for yourself, and people want to know how you can give back and how you want to contribute to that,
Right.
and how you see a future in their organization. I think that that's kind of the beauty of both of you guys, is that you're envisioning and creating sort of an intention around a brighter future, right? And that's, why
Yeah.
I can
Right.
imagine people would want you on a board, both of you,
Well,
It's the fruits of your labor too. I mean,
Yeah,
just
for
on this,
sure.
Yeah.
just seeing what your journey, right, that
Mm.
you guys have been through, and now to this. I
Mhm.
mean, you really brought it full circle, and I think that just pays homage to the hard work and dedication that you
thank you.
guys have put into this. So, man, that's pretty cool, pretty impressive, to be honest.
Mm.
I appreciate that, Fred and Sarah. We really do. It's
Mhm.
it's a lot of sleepless nights, because the work never finishes. Like I
No.
joke with people, like my last name is Cook, COO.
Mhm.
I never get to clock out,
Yeah.
but it becomes addictive. With the work that we do, you start searching for areas to embed yourself in, and but that's what I love about this business.
Mhm.
It's that beautiful, I guess, destructful side of it, where if you invest too much, you can break yourself down mentally, physically.
Mhm.
If you invest too little, you're not going to get what you want out of it.
Mm.
But it's still that addiction that we have for it, so
Mhm.
I'm just happy to do it with the wife, the handler, Mrs. Cook. you know um it feels good, because when you're trying to do good and you actually get it done, I guess you would say, it
Mhm.
shows your intentions were true. you know and we've called upon a lot of individuals in our community, from Shamrock, who's been there with us every single year so far with donated funds so we can get ingredients.
Mhm.
Redbird Farms, they gave us over 40 whole turkeys. I'm
Wow.
sorry, not even 40 cases of whole turkeys
Mhm.
Wow.
last year, for example. We had
Yeah.
Stillman Meats, who gave us over 100 turkey and chicken and pork butts. Miller Farms, who've been there.
Mhm.
I mean, one year, Joe, the dad, he was like, I can just load up the truck with potatoes and come and drop it off. And I just sit there, I'm like, I don't need that much potatoes, Joe. It's there's individuals in our community that genuinely want to do good, and they're also
Mhm.
good every single day. They just don't
Yeah.
advertise it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
She calls me the gatherer.
Mhm.
I don't mind being the person that waves that white flag and say, "Come over here, we can get it." You know what I mean? Like it seems as what I've learned is that when you tell people you can come over here and this is where you do good, they'll come. You may not get
Yes.
the whole damn community, but you'll get a few individuals, and guess what? Those are the individuals that you need.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Those are the
Absolutely.
individuals that you need to get the job done.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
ones who do the job, the ones who raise their hands, those are who you're supposed to have on your team. And
Mhm.
we've gone from having 17 volunteers our first year doing Thanksgiving, Madsgiving, feeding 515 people, to last
Mhm.
year we had almost 500 volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we provided meals to 13,036 people.
And it's a community that's coming together, and it's not just the larger companies that we're working with, but it's also those that are on the ground every single day, and we're just doing our small part in working with them. So like Main Street Worship Center and Mount Air Church, and there's just so many that are just are there for our community, and that's what really pushed me into it. I mean, I have my own background, but coming with Taj, he really helped me to see how big our community is and how important it is. So it's just organically grown, whether we were helping on just Thanksgiving Day or when 2020 hit, we had the pandemic, and at the same time we had two of the largest wildfires in Colorado history at the same time.
We were all up and down through the burn zones. We were feeding firefighters. We were feeding
volunteers.
Everybody. I mean, brother, listen to me. Two of the largest wildfire in Colorado's history burning at the same time. Wow. And all we saw from our vantage point there were a cloud of ash falling from the sky. They were telling us don't go outside. This year we're going to have an anniversary dinner later on in the middle of September in the forest area that was burnt and regrown to show some love to the first responders as well, who busted their ass up there.
That's the biggest thing for me, is just like, we can't regrow the forest. We can't bring people back their homes. We can't house and clothe everyone. We're trying to do more and more and more with as much as we can do, but what you can do is give someone that warm meal and show them that you care. And he's done that in so many beautiful ways. And that's what brings me to it every time. Like, and the fact that the need has grown so much here.
So when we went up to the burn area, we saw just ash, trees falling over. But one of the miracles about ash in these burn areas, we saw tiny little pine trees and spruce trees kind of tucked and growing back. So these burn scars area will regrow. They're growing back even more beautiful. So it shows you, even in the midst of destruction and fire, there's life.
Sure.
You got to think about sugarcane, how it's harvested. You know what I mean? So maybe it's because I'm Jamaican. We know what fire can bring. We're maroons. We used to burn down a lot of grass patches. You know what I mean? We know what the life can bring from the minerals from that. So there's a lot of hope. Even traveling through that, you saw the smiles on the people's faces. For me, that's when you see a community can come together. It's put aside your bullshit. Put aside your animosity. Put aside whatever grief and focus on what needs to get done. There's a woman who volunteers every single year for the past 3 years for Mads Given. And her daughter passed on the first time she volunteered the year before.
Yeah.
And she came to us and she shared that with me and Danielle. She was also hitting on my sous chef at the same time. Let's make it clear.
She earned it.
Because she went through traumatic, but she knows what she was doing. But she shared with us, she was like, me and my daughter used to volunteer a lot, and
every year.
She was like, now I don't know what to do. And I saw that you guys are doing this, so I figured I'll come and join you. I'm like, all right, fuck yes, come and join us, and you're forever welcome anywhere we go.
Everywhere.
And she's been there. You know what I mean? She comes and show up. She even helps to publish it online and share it and everything. And I've fallen in love even more with our community, man. It's that's why I say, like, everyone in this world, the kitchen world, even just, there's a saying that I've heard. It's our community is greater than the street we reside on. It's larger than the neighborhood we live in, and it's more vast than the city you reside in. And when you think about this on this level, the whole damn world is a community.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because when you talk to a Jamaican, out of many, we're one. You know what I mean? It doesn't. I have Scottish blood. I have Ghanaian blood. I have Indian blood. I have African, Latin
Same
blood.
here.
You know, it's maybe because I'm Jamaican, but the whole world is my community. and we all are family. We all are connected. You just don't know it yet. Do you know what I mean?
You have
That's
to
really,
embrace it, right? You
yeah,
have to
man.
embrace the opportunity that you're given when you're given that opportunity. And you guys definitely have. You didn't run from it. I live in a city where people, they will literally stand right in front of you and put their phone up, right? Just because they
Oh yeah,
are running from that,
yep.
connection. You've been to New York,
Yeah.
you know what it's like. So
Oh,
yeah, it's a militant kind of divisiveness, right?
yeah,
Which I
it
think
is.
is a big part of the American kind of story right now, that there are people that they are just like embedded in this division of them against me, right? And
Well, it's
and it's
human
so
nature.
like healing to know that there are people like you, especially since I don't know if you want to touch on this at all, but Colorado, where you guys are, there's so much going on right now, and that could also be politicized, which I appreciate that you're staying clear of the political aspect of it, but it could be totally politicized, and you're seeing it as an opportunity to provide community, regardless, and that's really what it should be. And when I say it, I mean all of it. I mean, that's what the world should be. It should be seeing people that are in difficult situation, and instead of blaming them for how it makes you feel, right, because it makes you feel uncomfortable, actually saying, how do I address that discomfort, and create a society where these people feel uplifted so that they can go out and do good for others. You guys are doing such an amazing job at that.
Sarah, I'm going to push on that. It's Colorado has become one of my personal favorite states, personally speaking. I've lived in New York. I grew up in Queens. Father grew up in Hell's Kitchen. My aunt still lives in Laurelton right now, for example. But I remember in 2020 when Kelly Whitaker reached out to us. Kelly Whitaker, James Beard nominated chef. Everyone knows his name. From
Amazing human.
Amazing individual. He wanted to revamp Bruto at the time. Now, this is before Bruto got any accolades. Okay, let's make that clear. The James Beard nods recently. He asked us to revamp Bruto, and we turned Bruto into a advocacy kitchen. He just, all he did was make pizzas out of there, amazing, delicious pizzas. But in the midst of 2020, when everything was being shut down and we had to rethink what we wanted to do, how we wanted to approach the community on a new conversation, he reached out to me, and I saw an opportunity for us to bring the community together. So we brought in white, black, Mexican, doesn't matter, African chefs. We worked with Beverly Grand, which is a beautiful African-American woman out here that owns an urban farm, 3 urban farms as well. And one of them is actually at the convention center where the big blue bear is at. Beverly Grand is an amazing soul. Her son, she lost her son to gun violence 7 years ago. And in Aurora, and ever since then, she's turned her life to just a community. And the dinners were amazing, for example, to the point where they've continued a lot of this work, the sit-down style dinners that we've done. We brought in, consulted and bringing in Michael Diaz de Leon, good friend and brother of mine, who was working with Justin Bronson at the time. We brought him over to Bruto, and he did some dinners. Kelly gave him the executive chef, and next thing you know, they won a James Beard and a Michelin. So we have so much talent within us, ideas just coming out. We have gold in our hands, we're trying to make sure that we make the right decisions.
Well, and you're also inspiring it in the youth. Like we already touched on it a little bit, but so talk to us a little bit about your leadership style and how you are working with these young Gen Z kids, who a lot of people who are in older generations are having such a difficult time understanding, how do I communicate with these people?
Well, I was a kid who I was in a group home. I ended in I was in a group home because I was a troublemaker. That's the truth. I was a young Jamaican kid who you could not tame. My dad was like, "Your mane is coming in, and you're acting like a man," and it was a learning experience. But whether it's Devin, I'm about to go meet later on today at 12 o'clock. He called me yesterday and he was like, Chef, life is kicking my ass a little bit, and tomorrow's my day off. You want to see each other? I'm like, all right, I need to see you. Our kids, they're not afraid to reach out to us. They're not afraid of who they are. I don't want them to ever shy away from their beauty, their color, their stripes in the world. You know what I mean? We all have our own individual fingerprint. You know what I mean? And I want to see that, your own individual identity. It was for years I masked who I was, who I am. If I want to wear the cool bobby socks with the pig broken down as bacon on it and roll up my pants and wear my Crocs one day, I was so self-conscious about everything that I did, you know. um, I don't want to see that. So having 3 nephews and a niece, and then working with these students, we're about to go to the Pro Start graduation to see these kids graduate as well. I'm about to go to a chop style competition on the 16th over at CCIC. It's I
Or you're
love.
judging the competition,
I
right?
am. I'm judging the competition. Yes, it's old now. We're the old chefs now. We just got invited back to the Denver Food and Wine Festival already, which will be in September 7th. But when we did it last year for the very first time, they let us know that the Pro Start students were available to come and help us if we wanted to. And this will give them an experience that they've never had. I
Right.
couldn't say no. Yeah, I'm like, all right, bring on one more. It never hurts. I can just walk around and look pretty. I don't have to do nothing. More hands, the better. you know. Um, so they gave us Dianara, and Dianara just looked so lost. And first thing I did was I looked at her. I'm like, what kind of apron you had? Right, no, take it off. Yeah, here's an apron. So we gave her an apron, and she felt like she was a part of the team, and we wanted her to feel that way. And during this whole environment, you saw, just in this 4 hours, you saw her show us who she is. It blew my mind. She's just a beautiful young lady, and she makes cakes and tres leches cakes, and she shows all the designs, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay. So we offered her a job, and yeah, she, Thanksgiving, as I said, the three of them, Devin, Dianara, Nara, pushed out over 5,000 meals.
Like that's Taj's, like, for me, my favorite part of his leadership style is understanding as a kid how much he appreciated just being straight with him, and just being able to embrace and understand the world, that some things will be a little scary, but you can do anything. And guess what? Even I can be better than who I am today. And it really instills that's confidence in them, and helps them to see how beautiful they are.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I try. I'm
You
miserable.
try.
But Taj,
Yeah, you seem like it.
but that's the key. And I've talked to other guests on the show about this. That leadership is what and how restaurants operate, right? You have to understand and how to pull the single best from every single person that's working for you.
Exactly.
And if you can't pull that and get their best, you're defeating the purpose, man. So that's great
Exactly.
leadership quality you have there.
I'm trying. I'm following the leadership of my old chefs, the ones that I've respected, the ones that really took a chance on me. The Daniel Asher of the world, the Lucas Forgy, the Sal Salazar. These individuals, they changed who I am and changed the way I function and think. And even just growing up with my dad, I was a tour manager's kid. Whenever I got to any venue, I would just walk up to every security with my dad and say, I'm his son. I won't be wearing a badge. And because I never wanted to be treated special, because you know what I mean? And what my dad taught me was how to speak to people, how to accept people, how to work with different diversities, ethnicities. And my old man, I'm going to show you a picture of my old man real fast, if you don't mind. Okay. So this is my old man.
Wow.
That's my dad. Okay.
Yeah.
And he can go into any country and just make himself at home. Seriously. Man, like, how the hell you did that? You don't even speak the language. Like, I don't even think that person over there is looking at you right. It's the example we show to these kids. It's the example we try to show to ourselves. It's the example that I still follow to this day. Last year when I lost my mom, January 27th, we laid her to rest. February 20th, We were in Jamaica for the whole month of February, and it was time that was needed. It was energy that we needed to absorb because my energy fell and broke into. You know what I mean? And it's it's how it is, but it's our energy. You know what I mean? It's it's the challenges that we go through that makes us who we are. How we get out of these situations and circumstances, whether it's a rough headspace, rough situation that you're in, financially, physically, mentally. Um, it all goes back to the origin of who we are. It's love, trying to put the right energy out in this world because we have enough.
Hey,
Exactly. We have enough just animosity and
Fear.
amongst each other and fear.
Yeah.
Whether it's Ukraine that fears Russia, Russia that fears Ukraine, Israel that fears Hamas, Hamas that fears Israel, whatever the hell it is, even here, just your skin tone. Whether you're white and you go into Oakland and you scare the crap out of everybody on Martin Luther King block, or you're black and you go somewhere in Beverly Hills with your pants sagging and you scare the crap out of the people up there. It doesn't matter. There's so much, and it's like I don't mind being the one that offsets this damn energy because when you see me step in the way I speak and move, I am not like anybody else, and that's what I want from this generation. You know what I mean? This generation that we're in, they inspire me. I have a nephew who's about to turn 22. Marinere is about to turn 20. Devin's about to turn 19. It's we are aging. Time is going by. Then what the hell are we gonna do while we're here? You know what I mean? So me during that time, I try to make sure we contribute the right way, and I don't mind pulling people into it as long as they raise their hands to get it done.
I love that. I absolutely love that. You guys inspire me, and I'm like so grateful for myself personally, for Fred, and for everyone that listens to this who is going to walk out into their day carrying your energy with them. And I know it sounds a little nutty for somebody to say that on a podcast about restaurants, but I just feel like so much love in this room right now. It's so beautiful to have you guys on. You are both incredible. You're an incredible team and you're incredible as individuals. And I am just so grateful to have you on the show today. So thank you for joining us so much.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. And listen, guys, I know sometimes you don't get to hear it enough, but great job and keep it up. Because I know sometimes people they take that for granted, right?
We need people like you.
Yeah, y'all keep it up, man. Seriously, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Good job.
I appreciate you sharing your platform with us and allowing us to get our thoughts, emotions out, and even questioning our background and just wanted to know more. That's appreciated. It's love. Thank you both.
That's what we're trying for.
Sincerely.
That's awesome. All right. So we're going to close out. Thank you again, Chef Taj and the lovely Danielle. And so, go out into your day and create beautiful energy. Thank you so much for listening. And now for the shameless plug. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider buying us a $5 round or becoming a monthly supporter by visiting turnburn.co, selecting support, and clicking the buy us a beer button.
Please also stay tuned for podcast updates by subscribing to our newsletter at turnburn.co and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Turn Burn Show. Thanks again for joining us and stay out of the weeds.